The next entry into the Halo franchise has been revealed, also with some other big news, and Xbox talks about their future strategy, which we already know about, but there's a lot of good information here from a New York Times article, so we will go over all of that. Halo Campaign Evolved was officially shown off at the Halo World Championships. It is what everybody was expecting the next entry into Halo would be, which was a brand new, built from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5 remake of Halo Combat Evolved that obviously came out with the original Xbox about 25 years ago. So Halo for me is one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's up there at the very least in the top 5. So very much looking forward to whatever they do put out within the franchise. We've been waiting a long time here since Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite to me was one of the best Halos that was ever made in this franchise, even though it didn't have the longevity, didn't have the player numbers within the multiplayer. The multiplayer is phenomenal. I really enjoyed the campaign. I am hoping at some point they do continue that story, but I don't think that they will, especially now moving over to Unreal Engine 5. To me, this is the kickoff of basically the entire reboot of the franchise, even though Halo Infinite was supposed to be that, but that was built in the Slipspace engine, and now they've moved over to UE5. This is the real next generation, next beginning here for the Halo franchise, and they're bringing us a beautiful looking campaign. They showed off a trailer. They gave us 13 minutes here of Halo content looking at this trailer, and it looks phenomenal. I was a little bit wary as to what was going to happen here with Unreal Engine 5 because I thought Slipspace was decent. The game looked and played very good, but we can see here, at least from this trailer, unless something goes crazily wrong by the time this game comes out, they've pretty much knocked it out of the park in the visual aspects here with Halo Campaign Evolved. The game is looking phenomenal, a major upgrade, obviously, from the original Xbox. You can see some of the cutscenes here, but then you jump into the gameplay itself, and it is just absolutely beautiful. The just everything, the guns, the area, the water, the particle effects when you're taking out enemies. It looks really, really good. So very excited about this. A lot of people actually got to play a preview build of this. And one of the things that I have been seeing, because it is a preview build, there is still that UE5 pop in and there's still some glitches and stuff too, which obviously this game isn't being released until 2026. So there's still a lot of time to get this game out and ready in the best condition possible, which they absolutely have to do. Now, when it comes to actually everything that is being upgraded, it is not going to have multiplayer, which is something that it was weird. I feel like they're going to announce something with multiplayer because it's at the Halo World Championships, but obviously nothing is ready there. Maybe they'll add something later, but we'll see what the next entry is into the multiplayer side of things, as it does seem like they are winding down Halo Infinite. There's going to be 3 extra prequel missions, 9 extra guns, including BR, Energy Sword, Needle Rifle, 2-player split screen co-op, 4-player online. There is sprints, though it does toggle. They're bringing in modern mechanics, and I'm completely okay with that. We have Halo Combat Evolved in many different forms. If you want to play the original, bring some modern mechanics into this and give an upgraded game that will feel better to play. And there's going to be complaints regardless, because you'll have people who are going to think this is a bad thing, but I feel like once it gets in people's hands, they're going to enjoy it. Halo does feel good with sprint. It does feel good when you are a Spartan that is just more mobile, which in reality is the super soldiers would be that mobile. They say you can hijack vehicles and drive a Wraith, and there is a new campaign remix feature. And then obviously the other major thing, but this isn't a surprise as everyone saw this coming, and we know this was the Xbox strategy, is Halo is going over to PlayStation 5. This really does mark the end of an era of exclusivity for this franchise and for a character and a game that was the face of exclusivity on Xbox. That is now over as the game goes over to the PlayStation 5. Personally, don't really care. You're going to see a lot of crying and everyone saying a bunch of things online. You've seen a lot of emotional takes already, but just like everything else, I don't really care. I mean, I'm playing the game on Xbox. The community gets bigger. I get it on Game Pass. I can buy it if I want. Like, it doesn't take the game away from me. So it does not matter to me that other people get to play it. But a lot of people are going to be outraged about this, thinking that it is spitting in the face of Xbox fans. I don't really see it that way or don't really care, but I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me in the comments. Now, when it comes to the strategy for Xbox and where they are going with heading to PlayStation and who they're competing with and stuff. There is a very interesting article that has been put out here by the New York Times in an interview with Matt Booty, somebody we haven't really heard from in a while. And he gives us some information here on exactly where Xbox is and the fact that they're continuously moving forward. Xbox isn't in jeopardy in any way. They have obviously just changed in what they are doing, something that isn't new, but of course they always have to talk about it, I guess, every time a big game drops onto the PlayStation platform. But here we are. Xbox's prized sci-fi franchise is heading to PlayStation. They say as part of a strategic shift away from exclusivity, which we already knew, Microsoft is bringing Halo to Sony's competing console for the first time. And this is Matt Booty, as I said, and here is what he says overall about what is going on here. We are all seeking to meet people where they are. And then you have Yus Van Drunen, who is a market analyst and professor at New York University, saying that Microsoft's newest console, the Xbox Series X and S, has been a commercial disappointment since releasing in 2020. Analysts are saying they've sold around 32 million units compared to the 80 million of the PlayStation 5, saying when it comes to consoles, Xbox has always been the bridesmaid and never the bride. They just haven't been able to outmaneuver PlayStation and Nintendo. And I think Xbox themselves have realized this now for a while. That's why they have the major strategy change. You look at the game, some of the big games they've launched on PlayStation, like Forza Horizon, and how that's been on top of the charts. You look at Sea of Thieves, so that also topped the charts. Gears of War Reloaded didn't. I do believe this Halo game, Halo Campaign Evolved, is going to be a top selling game on the PlayStation 5. I think it's going to be you'll see it on top of the charts in terms of sales when it does come out. I really am almost sure of that, but who knows? I could be wrong, but PlayStation gamers are going to want to play it if they haven't yet. And I'm sure a lot of them already have, though, on Xbox in the past or on PC when it did eventually launch there. But he says Microsoft's leaders hope that bringing its premier franchise to its new audiences will ultimately attract more customers into the Xbox ecosystem. And Booty said consumers no longer have a strong attachment to the actual devices they use to play games. Our biggest competition isn't another console. We are competing more and more with everything from TikTok to movies. Now, that one is a little curious because previously they said they were competing with companies like Amazon and Apple. Now they're competing, I guess, with everything like TikTok and movies. And I'm thinking he's saying that just because of the fact those are the entertainment factors that people take with them on any device anywhere, and it takes up so much time. The amount of people that spend hours just scrolling TikTok videos is mind-boggling. And then obviously movies are always a big entertainment source for people, so it's trying to attract more consumers in other categories that would potentially not be playing their games, but if you can get them away from using things like TikTok, I guess they would turn into gamers, and they're trying to get their money from them. And one way to do that is to make it visible, make your games and your ecosystem visible on every device that they do have. So I guess that's what he's kind of meaning there. I don't see the full correlation between TikTok and movies and to Xbox, other than the fact time and people's attention are highly into those products, and trying to get them onto Xbox, try to get them to play Xbox games would mean putting your games in front of them. Doesn't matter what device that they are on. Now, New York Times goes on here and says there are signs that the strategy is working. Between April and July, 6 of the top 10 best-selling games on Sony's consoles were Microsoft properties, and near the top was Forza Horizon 5 4 years after it was initially released for the Xbox consoles. Again, huge success there. If you can be a top selling some millions and millions of copies on a competing platform 4 years after it came out on the platform that it's a first party for, it's a massive success. And if you're a business, you're looking at that and saying, yeah, we got to continue with this strategy. Gears of War Reloaded was released in August, and I don't think that one did very good, or it wasn't a top of the charts, but I'm sure it still sold an okay amount. And they say by releasing the first Halo and Gears of War titles on the PlayStation 5 decades later, Microsoft is introducing lucrative franchises to loyal Sony gamers. And the exposure may pay dividends if Microsoft brings Gears of War E-Day, which has a 2026 release date, and Halo Infinite's eventual follow-up to the PlayStation 5. Now, there was an interview after, I believe, with Brian Gerard of Halo, and he spilled the beans that Halo is now on PlayStation. Future Halos will be on the PlayStation 5, whether that's day one, we don't know, or if that's going to be at a different time point. I'm assuming they will be day one if this campaign Evolved is day one. Same with Gears E-Day. I'm guessing that one's landing on PS5 day one as well. Now, the full price sales on Sony consoles, they say here, is particularly important for Microsoft because of Game Pass. And that is always the kicker when it comes to looking at where people may choose to play these games. You will absolutely get people who look at the price of the game on the PS5, full price $70, and then look at the fact that it's on Xbox Game Pass, and probably, especially with a single player campaign, like you're playing through Halo Campaign Evolved probably once, maybe twice, maybe three times at max, but it's really not an insanely long campaign. You're looking at that. And if you're somebody who's savvy at all and you don't really care about owning it and all that stuff, $70, or you could sign up to Game Pass for a month and play through it, and then potentially be drawn into the ecosystem that way by seeing other games that are on these servers. Because if you think of Game Pass, especially right now, it's on a tear. Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, like some of the best games are all releasing all at this point, and that's going to continue going into 2026 with the lineup they have with Fable and Gears and Halo, and it goes on, and potentially other ones that we don't know about. So I feel like that is their strategy here, trying to get people to even just look at Game Pass once, sign up for it, play a game, and then be drawn into the ecosystem that way. And if it is available on whatever screen that they're on, they don't have that extra burden of having to go out and buy a piece of hardware to get access to the service. So to me, that does sound like a very smart business strategy. Obviously not for fanboys, because fanboys will be very mad about this, as obviously their loved exclusives are going to be allowing other people to play them. And that's, I would say, the generally people try to mask it as that's not the reason why, but I think generally that is the emotional reason why people get so upset, because it was something that they had as a bragging right on their platform, that the people who have been talking shit to them for decades, now they can't really talk shit anymore because they get to play it as well. So I feel like that's the main reason. But from the business side, it does make sense when I do look at it. And if you're seeing what's happening going on with the gaming industry, everything's going up. Even PlayStation's putting games on Xbox. We just got Helldivers 2. MLB The Show is going is everywhere. Will we be getting Horizon as well on Xbox? Who knows? Like, these are all questions in the future, but the whole industry has changed. In fact, they do say here that the shifting economics of the video game industry have left some analysts wondering if Microsoft plans to leave the console market altogether. We already know that is not the case. We got more confirmation from Phil Spencer, which I will probably talk about in another video, but he did say that, yes, they are making their own first-party console on top of getting a glimpse as to what the future of consoles will be from the Xbox Ally and the Xbox Ally X, which would mean that full screen experience probably built by OEMs, plus Xbox is going to be creating their premium console that you can buy as a first party device. There's been layoffs, of course, across the industry. They do mention that as well. And then they also say here that the developer is developing this game in Unreal Engine 5, the first time the franchise will run outside software. And they say, we are evolving the experience. This is Pierre Heinz, the head of Halo Studios. And there is a level of detail with which we now can express the original artistic vision and goals. And Heinz said that the franchise's story of repelling an alien conquest was refreshing in an era when many games featured reluctant heroes and unclear objectives, saying, when you pick up Halo, you know that you are quintessentially good. Your job is to save humanity. And Elizabeth Van Wyck, the chief operating officer and general manager of the Halo franchise, says Microsoft goals to reach as many players as possible. She says, we talk about this as another era for Halo. So there you have it there. That's how they weighed in. A lot of corporate speak and everything. But you look at this, and to me, this game does take off. It looks great, plays great in Unreal Engine 5. It gives me a lot of hope for the future of the Halo franchise and how we will be getting games and how often we will be getting games. Because one of the things with Unreal Engine 5 is that it's widely more available. It's widely more known by developers rather than being locked behind the studio with the Slipspace engine. They can go out and recruit way more people that will know already how to develop within this engine. They won't have to train them, all of that stuff, which would hint to me they are planning a series of Halo games, not just Halo Campaign Evolved and then years later, the next main entry, and then we wait another many years to get the next main entry. I'm thinking we're gonna get spin-offs. Like I think we're gonna get back to the Halo Reach and the Halo ODST. And I really hope that is the case because that was the heyday of the franchise, at least for me, when we got Halo 3 and then we got some of the spin-offs and everything with it. So I hope that's the case, especially it now being in Unreal Engine 5. And it looks great, it looks phenomenal. We'll have to see if they do hit on all cylinders when it does come out. We can't really judge if they will be giving us a polished product until we get it in our hands, but I'm pretty confident that they will be able to do this. It's releasing in 2026. In fact, you can already install it on your Xbox console. It's very odd. I opened up my Xbox app on my phone and it started installing onto my Xbox. So who knows what the case is there. But I'm pumped. I'm excited for Halo. I don't care that it's on PS5. I'm playing a new Halo game in 2026 that is going to be one of the best years, I think, in Xbox history. So I'm excited for all of this stuff. Let me know your comments. I'm sure the people are going to be crying about this, but if you are, let me know why, I guess. And let me know if you're excited, if you don't care about all of the stuff surrounding the outrage every single day. It now seems like around Xbox. But on the video there, if you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.